Hey generator installers, Mitch here at SwiftSocial. In today's video, I want to show you guys some changes that you can make and how you can kind of structure your lead forms that you have your generator leads fill out before they get in contact with you to dramatically increase your lead quality and increase the amount of leads that you get as well. So first thing I want to talk about is the intro page. So whenever you're optimizing stuff, when it comes to advertising, whether it's the forum or literally any part of your advertising funnel, one principle to always keep in mind is that you want to optimize from top to bottom because most of the people that see your stuff are going to see, obviously the top of the funnel, which is like, the top of the ad itself. And then once they get to the survey, they're going to see the first page of the survey. So it makes the most sense to optimize the parts of your funnel or of whatever piece of advertising you're doing. Advertise the pieces that get the most eyeballs first because that's going to make the biggest difference downstream. So the first question that I like to ask, and this is an example of one of the types of surveys that I use for my clients that I work with. And by the way, if you're interested in that, I've set up advertising systems totally for free for generator installers all around the country, get you at least 3 to 5 plus new generator installs every month. If you're interested in that, you can click the link in the description. But so first things first, so the first page of the survey, what I always ask is what type of home do you have, right? So single family home, townhome, mobile home, commercial, right? So most of the time people are going to select single family, but this is going to give you some important information, to first of all structure the quote, that you're going to end up giving them, lets you know a couple things to begin with. And then you'll notice too at the top of this, so what I do is I reiterate. So I say get the best quality and value with no stress for your home standby generator. So depending on what type of ad I run for people, I change what this top part says right here, right? So the reason that it says get the best quality and best value with no stress for your home standby generator is because that aligns with the type of ad that I was running. So for this particular person, I'll go over this in another video in the future, but for this particular client, I run an ad that focuses on those things, the best quality, best value, and no stress in the installation process, right? So you always want to make it so that every single part of your advertising funnel is congruent from top to bottom and that everything lines up, right? So if you run an ad that talks about, get a generator starting at, X number, and then they go over to your survey and it says, you know, get the best quality and value with no stress, and it doesn't say anything about, starting at this number, it's not congruent and people are going to drop off, right? Because their expectations need to line up with reality as much as possible. So if they go over to your survey with the expectation that you're going to reinforce the point that you made on the ad. Hey, real quick, if you're a home standby generator installer and you want 3 to 5 plus additional generator installs per month, which is about $30,000 to $100,000 plus in new revenue every single month, I'll build you an advertising system just like the ones I show you how to build in my videos here to do that for you, and I'll run it for you totally for free for 2 weeks. And if you don't love working with me, you never pay me a penny for it. So if that sounds interesting, go ahead and click the link below to book a quick phone call with me in the description, and that's go.swiftsocial.org. And I'm looking forward to talking to you. Thanks. Things first. So, I always reinforce whatever I was talking about in the ad at the start of the survey, let them know that they're in the right place and keep it congruent. And then number two, we go over, answer a few quick and essential questions, less than 2 minutes, and we will promptly contact you via call, text, or email to discuss your free personalized quote, right? So a couple things that I do here. You'll notice I put a time frame, so I put less than 2 minutes because sometimes people see stuff like this and they get kind of intimidated and it's like, oh, it's going to take me so long to fill up. But you put a number on that, people go, yeah, I got less than 2 minutes. I was going to spend 20 minutes scrolling through Facebook or Instagram reels or posts or whatever anyway. So I got less than 2 minutes. You want to put a time frame on it, set expectations, and then meet those expectations or even exceed them. That's what you want to consistently do with people, right? It builds trust too. So answer a few quick and essential questions, and we will promptly contact you via call, text, or email. So what that's doing right there is that's giving them options. It's letting you know how you're going to contact them. People like to have options. And then to discuss your free personalized quote. And that's the benefit. That's what they're going to get if they take the less than 2 minutes to fill this out, right? You'll notice something else that I do too is I highlight or I bolded the main points in here. So best quality, value, no stress, quick and essential questions, promptly contact, free personalized quote. That's really like the crux of this, right? And so it actually helps people if they're reading through it. They can read through it kind of faster like that. And they get the main points better when you kind of bold the important things in the text. But you don't want to do it too much. In fact, maybe bold a little bit too much here, but I think it's all right. We get lots of leads. So, but yeah, it's the first question I asked. So that's kind of how I structure it. Next question is, what are your main reasons for considering a home standby generator? So first of all, before I get into this question, I want to talk about the little justification that you'll notice up here. And you'll notice as I scroll through the rest of the survey also why I do things the way I do. But you'll see, so I put this justification above every single question that I ask in the survey. And the reason for that is because with questions like this, it's a little bit more intuitive and it's like, okay, yeah, I understand why I'm giving that information, right? But 100% of the time, if you give a justification for why you're asking somebody for some piece of information, they're going to be more likely to give it to you. It's like I don't remember what the effect is called or anything like that. I'm not a psychologist, but I've heard there's like a psychological effect where even if it's like totally BS and the justification that you're asking, not that this is true, but if you ask for some sort of justification or you give it when you ask somebody a question, you're like, hey, I need to know what size car tires you have because it might rain tomorrow. It's like they're way more likely to give you that information, even if it doesn't really make sense. If you give some sort of justification, just the fact that you gave justification makes people way more likely to answer your question. All right, I think that's kind of a little bit of a rant. Sorry about that, but I hope that makes sense. So you always want to justify the questions that you're asking and give some reason why you're asking. Right. So in this case, I put to provide you with the best solution during a power outage. We need to understand your key motivations and concerns. This will help us understand your best options. Right. And then this is just pretty self-explanatory. So, what are the reasons that you're considering a home standby generator? And then these are obviously kind of all the main reasons that people usually have for considering a home standby generator. Next one. So this one's super, super interesting. I'll go a little bit in depth into this one. So my assumption is, and as far as like clients that I work with and stuff, all my clients, they're all good companies and they're all good people and they do good work for people. And that's the only reason, frankly, that I'm comfortable even advertising for them and doing this kind of stuff, right? And putting this on here. But this question is, what are your expectations regarding communication and project management? And you can see there's a bunch of different options. So there's, I want transparent pricing. I want a detailed schedule. I want the team to respect our home. All these different things where, a good, solid professional company like you probably run, you're going to do all these things anyways without, it having to be said or asked for, right? But in a world where there's so many contractors and generator installers out there, unfortunately, that just do crappy work and screw people over a lot of the time, unfortunately. Um, just having this question in here, not even necessarily to, okay, they want regular updates. I'm going to make sure to get that to them. They want a detailed schedule. I'm going to make sure to get that to them. Having this question in here just to reassure people that you are a company that's professional, that does good work, that's going to treat them right, you're not going to screw them over, right? All those kind of things. Having this in here does so much in the way of building trust with a prospect before you even meet them, before you get on the phone with them or see them in person, right? So the entire reason that I asked this question is literally just to build trust with the prospect in the fact that they're filling out a survey to get in touch with a company that's professional and you're solid and you're going to do good work for them and they can be confident in that, right? And so this is really that's the reason I asked that question. It's a great question for that reason. Next one is kind of self-explanatory. Also, you'll notice I still have the justification. Do that for all of them. When would you like to start your generator installation project? I want to start immediately. Blah blah blah. All the different options they have. Something I want to touch on real quick too is when you're creating a survey for your generator ads, every single question in there should feel like it's important, right? Because the reason I'm going to go back up to the top, the reason that people are filling out this survey is to get a free personalized estimate for their generator install, right? So every single question that they answer in this survey should make them feel like they're moving one step closer to actually having that free personalized estimate. So you'll notice, what best describes your home? What are your main reasons for wanting a home standby generator? What are your expectations when we actually go out there and start installing it for you? When do you want to start your generator install? Right? All those kind of questions, those are things that you actually need to know to start a quote for them and to put that together, right? So every single question, once again, needs to feel like, and it should be ideally too, it should be an important question and they feel like they're giving you important information that's actually going to serve as the foundation for that quote that you're going to provide them or estimate. I like the word estimate better. I'd recommend using that. Next one is this. So and again, you'll see the justification and stuff right here. What's your zip code? So I like to break up the location when we ask for their address and stuff like that into multiple parts so it doesn't seem as like intimidating. So what I do is, what's your zip code first? And then we do full address. And it's kind of interesting. I'll go into this more in future videos, but the reason comes to qualifying these people because, most of the time when they fill in their address right here, you can actually go on Google and you can punch in their address, right? And you can go on like Redfin or Zillow or any one of those websites, like those realtor websites, and you can actually see most of the time the value of their home, or at the very least, what kind of neighborhood they're in. And the reason that that's important is because, like I've said in previous videos, the most important thing when it comes to actually selling these generators, once you get the leads, is getting out there face to face and building that trust with the person face to face, right? But part of the time, it's not going to be worth it, right? So if the person has no money, it's going to be a waste of your time to go out there face to face and give them an estimate, right? Something you can do is, if they punch in their address right here, and then you take their address, right after you contact them and the lead comes through, you can put their address in there, go on Zillow, check it out, and you can see, okay, they got, they got a $5 million house. Chances are I'm probably not going to need to qualify them over price on the phone or anything like that. And by the way, I wouldn't recommend that if you ever qualify people on the phone about price. I'd do like a ballpark, like 10 to 20,000 or 13 to 24,000 or something really big if you're going to do that. But what I'm saying is, if you have their address and you punch in their house and it's a $5 million house or something, you know that you don't need to do any price qualification. All you need to do is just make sure you get out there face to face and show them that, hey, you're professional, you're going to do a good job, because you know that they have the money, right? And then vice versa, if you punch in their house and it's like, you know, not a $5 million house, and you might want to actually, qualify them just a little bit, just give them that ballpark. Hey, by the way, most of our generator installs are somewhere between 13 to 24,000. So depending on what you want, if you want just the essentials, blah blah blah, whatever. So that's the reason I asked for address, and that's how I do it. And then the last thing is to quickly provide a free estimate for your generator project. We may contact you by call, text, or email, again, giving them options. And then here's our promise: we will never spam you, and your information's safe with us, right? And that should be true. You should obviously, never spam them or do anything like that. Besides just like, reasonable follow-ups and stuff like that, trying to get a hold of them to book the estimate that they reached out for. But, some people don't want to give the information because they're uncomfortable about that. But again, this goes back to the justification where, you give somebody a justification and they're just way more likely to answer it no matter what, even if the justification isn't super logical or doesn't make a ton of sense. This does, especially because at this point in the survey, first of all, they got through the ad, where if you're doing the same kind of stuff that I teach you how to do in this YouTube channel, it's an ad that builds a lot of trust with the person. And then, you have questions like that one I showed you earlier, which just builds like so much trust and just paints you as such a professional company that's going to do such a good job and that's trustworthy, right? So by the time they get to this point, they probably don't even really need any more reassurance, but we do it anyways. We say we will never spam you, your information's safe with us. And they go ahead, they fill out, full name, email, cell phone. And then instead of having submit, so I feel like it increases, people's conversion rates and stuff a little bit. You can test it out. I mean, submit will work fine too. I like to change the color of the button too to like a green. Green's like a nice, friendly, trustworthy color. So I like to do green. I like to do get my estimate. But something you can do too is if you send people to an actual booking page, and the next step in the process is them actually filling out the survey, and then they click next, and then it takes them to a booking page, and they can schedule directly into your calendar. You can literally just make this button say next, like all the other ones, right? And so they won't even know that it's actually down to the survey. I mean, they might with the 7 out of 7, but it's true because the next step is to actually book in estimate into your calendar. So yeah, I guess to recap everything I talked about. So when it comes to making surveys, number one, it needs to be the survey that you send people to needs to be congruent and line up with the type of messaging and the type of message. It's the same thing that you were promoting in the ad itself. So everything needs to line up. It needs to be the same kind of wording, the same messaging, the same benefits, all that stuff needs to line up. Number two, it needs to feel like, and it needs to be the case, that you're asking people important questions that they feel are important and that are going to serve as the foundation for them actually getting an estimate for their generator install, right? Which is why they're filling this out in the first place. Number three, I guess, make sure you always give justifications for why you're asking all these different pieces of information. And that's about it. Yeah, that's pretty much, I guess, the big 3 bullet points when it comes to making forms and surveys and stuff like that for your generator leads to fill out. So I hope this helped. If you're interested in me setting up a generator marketing system and getting at least 3 to 5 plus new generator installs every single month, most of my clients honestly get a lot more than that. But if you're interested in me setting up a system like that, like I teach you how to do in these YouTube videos, also totally for free for 2 weeks, feel free to click the link in the description. That's go.swiftsocial.org, and you can book a quick phone call with me, and we'll talk about, if it's a good fit for your business, and if it is, I'll set it up totally for free for you for 2 weeks and run it, and I'll get you a bunch of leads and a bunch of installs, and you don't pay me a penny unless you love it. So hope this helped, and yeah, thanks for watching.